break up fairly early on, and it's hard to tell because Dennis has got a big truck just above his head, so I can't actually tell how far behind he actually is. But looks like he is just going to get back onto the back of a train, and hopefully hang on for a while. But it's definitely all single file, and that there are definitely splits. Is Ryan still in the front?
Yeah, he's pushed himself through and he's moving right up to the front, along with Brent Robinson, who I've ridden with before in ZRL, and Chris G is also there, Paul Chacarot, people like that. So yeah, this is the strong group here at the top. Yeah, so they're still pushing out almost 5 watts a kilo to hang in the group. There's an awful lot of people on Trons, mostly pink and yellow, interesting choices. But yeah, so he's definitely going to stick himself right near the front.
Steve, how's Lisa doing?
She's doing a very similar ride to what I did earlier. It looks like race 2 has gone down exactly the same way as race 1 in the front, which was just absolutely brutal. Jonesy's now holding around 4 watts a kilogram. Again, it's a long drag this at the start, isn't it? You've got 3 to 4, 5 minutes maybe at kind of the best you can do and hope on. Lisa's in a nice bunch now. If they can all work together at kind of high 3s, maybe 4s, there's people starting to drop back off that lead group. And if you can get a big enough blob, there's a nice bit of flat, there's a nice downhill, so there's every chance that they can work their way up. Who's that just gone past? Another herd rider, Annie Bray, I think, just gone past there on Lisa on a nice orange Tron as well, actually, there. But Lisa's there on a pink Tron, just putting down a nice tempo at the moment. So important to not knacker yourself out on this climb. Get a good tempo going, ride as hard as you can for as long as you can. Really treat this start like a time trial, and she's going to hoover up a few of those riders that are dropping off that front group now. How's things at the front, Becca?
Yeah, Ryan's just hanging on now. Unfortunately, there's a little split from the front few, maybe 15 riders, back to where he is with Brent and Chris. It was touch and go whether they will manage to hang on or not. There's a lot of herd kit here, so maybe if they work together they can get there, but we'll see. How's Dennis, James?
So I feel really bad for Dennis because he's holding like 3-3 to 3-5 in his he's got a group of, there's a few clusters just around him, and he was holding definitely low 4s early on, and sadly got dropped from the main line fairly early on up this hill. But he's currently sat in 48th out of 126. Like I say, few riders around him, but he's holding like mid 3s, so he's pushing out big numbers and doing a great job just as we hit the first plateau on this long climb at the start of the lap. But he's doing okay, and hopefully it will come back in. He's got a few friends around him. Got D Vero out for herd, and sorry, just waiting for the name to actually appear. De Silva out for Mustangs team, and another ATP rider around him as well. And Alan Chebel's there too. So Dennis is pushing hard, putting out good numbers. A little bit off the front, but just heading downhill before we heads to the second part of this climb before we turn right. Steve, how's Lisa doing?
Yeah, a little blob in position 39, and I fear some people have avoided my joke from earlier, James. It wasn't really a joke, it's just me reading Pink Floyd lyrics. So relax, just face the facts, and just remember there is no pain, you are receding, and I have become comfortably numb. Lisa probably hoping she'll become comfortably numb soon as she hits the second part of this climb. If you can put a bit of a surge on here, there's a chance there's the odd dribs and drabs of riders, so every chance if this group she's in works together, does a bit of hard work in the blob, they can hoover up those riders. So pretty confident she'll catch a few of these heading into the common, and we know how well Jonesy climbs. She's got every chance of hoovering up even more positions into the climb. Although it is quite a long way from the top of the comm today to the end, so being in front of a group, the logic says that being in front of a group, you shouldn't be able to hold it away to the end. But Nate Home proved that logic completely wrong. Left myself and Mike Bowser for dead with a 4 or 5 second gap at the top of the comm, and we just weren't able to get him back today, probably because we were both sat at the back, not doing any work in our group. But there we go. Anyway, stupid Nate, great ride today. Well done, buddy.
The wonders of gravity. Dennis is and his group are catching a bunch of riders just in front. So it looks like the time trial effort up the hill is certainly starting to pay off. So they are catching what appears to be a group of 4 or 5 just in front, and so looking to make up a few places before we get to the top of the hill. Becca, how's Ryan getting on? Is he front or second group now?
He's in the second group, but he's literally just put down 6.5 watts per kilo up the small hill just before you go down the slightly longer descent where you can aero tuck. And he seems to have, was with 6 other people, but he does seem to have dropped them now. So he's kind of in no man's land by himself. Now his group has caught back up with him as he's dropped down to 2 watts per kilo. Mark John's in that group. And it looks like Chris made the front group. So yeah, he's in the second group on the road now, and they're still putting out a pretty strong effort, 4 or 5 watts per kilo as they just go down the turns.
Steve, I take it Lisa's going downhill as well.
She's just made the right-hand turn, so she's got this last little shitty bit of bloody uphill, as everyone knows it as, before we get to the downhill bit. But amazingly, she's caught up Ian Elston and Annie Bragg, and Ian, who appears to be on a disco rear wheel, which is a bold choice on a very hilly course. I'm really hoping that that's a bike change in the pen, and he's actually riding a much more sensible bike for this course today. Ian, we know, can put down some good watts, solid B rider, but good herd contingent in this little group. There's probably about 5-6 of them, or there's an interestingly sized blob behind them. So if it forms up, this group could get very rapid.
That's Dennis's group just behind. So I think this could all blob up by the bottom of the hill.
Oh, that would be fantastic. And then we'll watch it smash apart again like Humpty Dumpty when he had a great fall, probably off the pot bank wall.
More than likely off a pot bank wall. It is very steep there, and you certainly don't want to go the other way up this hill if you can help it at all, with sections of 22 to 25%. But we are just cresting that very, very steep bit, and we can see Lisa's group just in front as we fly down the hill. Becca, how's Ryan getting on?
Well, there are people falling off of the front group and joining our group now, Chris being one of them. So now we've got 4 herd riders in this group of 8. But yeah, the front group still looks quite big because Ryan is in 21st and he's in the middle of this group. So I'm going to say front group is maybe 15, 16 riders strong. So it's a lot bigger than it was earlier. They're just going along sort of like the false flat before they go downhill and get to the bottom of the com. But he's putting out a very strong effort. 4 watts per kilo has barely dropped below. And it's looking like a very, very strong ride.
Thanks, Becca. And back to Dennis, and it looks like we're just about to catch the group in front. We're looking at probably about a second now, so just about to catch, and it looks like I think we've just flown past Ian Elston, who's doing 0.0 watts per kilo, so I think he's probably had a bit of a dropout, which is a real big shame. And also, what are you doing riding a bike at midnight on a Friday? But however, we are.
Hey, you could be drinking and talking about people riding bikes and pixels. That would be better.
Much more exciting, I think. Dennis is just about to jump onto this group. He's just got one more big push before he can get on. There's still probably about 5 meters in front, but I think he's about to jump on, which would be a really good effort. We've got Di Vero just behind him, who is hopefully going to give him a little bit of help. But we're just joining. Becca, Ryan's probably not got too far to the comp now.
No, they're just aero chucking down the descent before they get to the bottom of the com. So we shall see what kind of times they put up. The fastest times earlier seem to be about 2:10ish, so it'll be interesting to see how quickly this group goes up, especially as there is enough of them at the moment that there would be some small draft. But yeah, they haven't got to the bottom of the com yet. They will very, very shortly.
Much as I hate to praise you, James Bailey has heard DS. This is a stupid course, but it actually does make some really good racing. We've seen blobs come back together. We'll see them go apart on the hills. We'll see them come back together again on the descents. So there's something in it for kind of the punchy riders and the heavier riders as well, isn't there, today? And that's exactly what we've seen with this group that Lisa and Dennis, I think, is now part of as well. They'll come together on this descent. they'll probably blow apart on the climb, and then there's another descent. So it's really interesting tactically. I think once you get to the top of the climb, you do have to make a decision about whether you can push on to the next group and hang with them, or whether it's actually worth you saving some of your matches, not pushing really hard at the top of the climb and sticking with the group behind you. However, as Nate Jones proved earlier, I hate to mention him again, that can all go wrong. If the group doesn't want to work, a solo or two riders can stay away from them. So it's going to be fascinating to see what happens over this climb. And I've probably put enough fluff into the chat now for Becca to be able to tell us about that climb.
Excellent. Yeah, it's strung out entirely, almost from the start, with the people at the front doing 7 watts a kilo, and Ryan is just hanging onto the back of the group at 5 watts a kilo. So it seems to have divided up into sort of 3 groups, and he's in the middle, one of them, with a couple of people behind who I think may have caught up. But yeah, they have maybe 200, 300 meters more to go. They've just got to the little flat bit, and before it punches back up again. How did you find this climb earlier, Steve?
Horrific. Well, yeah, it's a tough climb. I don't like this climb because it has that bit in the middle where you hit the mini roundabout, which flattens out a bit. So I find I lose my tempo a little bit. Have to change gears. Kind of probably end up resting more than I should. I do like a climb, sadly, like Mont Ventoux, where you have that kilometre that's just straight and really, really dull, but at least the gradient's consistent and you can kind of time trial it. So yeah, it's a brutal effort. It was just under 3 minutes for me. I decided to sit up near the end because I wasn't getting enough of a gap from my group, and as Nate went past me, and he was right and I was wrong. Stupid Nate.
They're just getting up to the top now. The fastest riders have gone over in 2:14 this evening, which is very quick and no doubt going to hurt. Unfortunately, Ryan's lost most of his group, so he sort of needs to put in, which he is actually doing now, a 5 watts a kilo effort to catch onto the back of the 2 people in front so that he has a group to go down the hill with. But I don't know whether he'll manage to do it. Has anyone else got to the hill yet?
Yeah, we're on the hill now. It's kind of broken apart a bit, and Jonesy's just approaching the kind of the nasty flat bit with the mini roundabout. I'd just quickly give Corey Chestnut a shout out for the brilliantly designed her kit. We were complimented on it as all of us attacked up the climb and people swore at us in race 1 earlier. James, how's Dennis?
Dennis is struggling sadly a little bit on the hill. He's just hit the mini roundabout, and just on your point earlier, actually, I love the middle bit of this hill, and I love this climb. It's short. It's got a nice flat bit in the middle, and after 2.5 minutes, it's all over. Well, 2.5 minutes is mildly optimistic. Let's call it 2 minutes 50. However, Dennis has been putting out big numbers, but he's struggling a little bit. He's been averaging probably about 3.5 up the hill, which is a really, really, really good effort. But he's off the back of a group, sadly. But he's not too far away from the banner. He's got one more big push before he gets there, and then he'll have a nice little downhill section. Becca, is Ryan over the top now?
Yeah, he did a brilliant climb in 2:50. He's managed to catch on just to the back of one other person, so he's not going down the hill entirely by himself. And they are working together, although the group in front is 16 seconds in front, and Chris G is behind 4 seconds by himself, so I don't know whether they might make it up. But yeah, the 2 of them look like they will be riding in together now. As they just go around the corner and up that little 8-9% bit as you take the steep round, that bit always hurts. And probably your least favourite bit of the course, James, after that lovely ZRL race you had here.
We don't talk about that race, Becca.
I do apologise. I won't bring it up again.
James only talks about C races that he won, Becca. We have to remember that at all times. Jonesy's just crested the climb agonisingly a few seconds behind. It's opened up to about 7 seconds. She's probably 3 or 4 seconds behind the blob in front of her as we crested the climb. But as we know, the blob descends really quickly. So she's caught up with a fellow American, D. Pronovost, whoever that is. He's in quite a cool jersey at the moment. They're descending together, but I suspect the blob behind her is going to catch her. How did Dennis do on the climb, James?
Dennis went over 3:25. He's now going downhill. It looks like he's hoping for a bit of air attack, and he should hopefully catch it in about 5 seconds time. 55 kilometers an hour, 56. Come on, air attack. There we go. Yep. So Dennis is now air attacking down the hill before we hang a left and the particularly delightful 10% climb, which I have very unfond memories of, which Becca's already alluded to, having given everything up the column in the ZRL Series 1 and not quite managing to catch the front group and just missing out by about a couple of seconds. And then going downhill, I was caught out by the group behind who flew past me. But so there is a little bit of revenge on this course, but will hopefully happen tomorrow, but we will see. But Dennis, just getting down to the bottom of the hill, just turning left now, and then he's got a lovely 10% hill to climb up, which I'm sure he'll enjoy very, very much. How's Ryan getting on?
Yeah, they've picked up another rider, Bruce Bortoff, who also rides for Herd, and so then there's now 3 of them. So his final sprint, I imagine, will be between these 3, unless the 2 people behind them, one of whom is actually Chris, catch them up. But yeah, they've just gone through the sprint point, and now they've got maybe just about 2 kilometres left to go.
What position is Ryan in at the moment, Becca?
Currently 21st.
And Steve, how's Lisa doing?
She's 43rd. Sorry, Zwift had decided to not tell me what position she was in. So clearly, Gavin Irons has been on Zwift recently, as he's the ghost rider of positions. A bit of a mini blobs forming. She's just clinging on by her fingernails to this group, just riding up to the back of them now. Clearly, what she needs to do is do her best Mike Bowser impression, expend minimum watts in the back of this group, and then save herself for that lovely little sprint finish we got at the end, where it's some big red percentages and then it does level out a bit. But if you're a really good climber like Lisa, you could probably go on those red percentages, get away enough from the group, and then just time trial to the finish over the last 800 meters. So be interesting to see how she sets this up as we go through the final sprint banner.
I think the difficulty with the finish is that when you're actually riding it, you think, okay, I'm really going to hammer the last climb, which is about 10%. And then you realise, actually, you've still got 800 metres to go afterwards. So you put out a big effort going up that final 10% climb, and then you've still got a really, really far too long to sprint. And I know certainly I've gone over the top of that thinking, oh yeah, I'm just about to finish, and then you realise you've still got 800 metres to go. However, back to the race.
James, you just need to practice sprinting from 900 meters out every time, which is what I do in any race anyway. So it's obviously just a course that suits my finishing style. How's Ryan and Dennis doing anyway?
Ryan's been putting in a few attacks on his teammates, 6 watts a kilo, but Bruce and the other guy, Stephen Dubois, have been basically following every single one of them. So they're tiring themselves out having a little competition between them, but it does mean that the group behind them are definitely not going to catch them. And I would imagine, guessing from all the red numbers I can see, sort of 20 seconds ahead, that they're just about to turn the corner and go up the short, painful climb, of which I'm sure you also have fond memories of Bowser chasing you down, James.
Delightful. Thanks, Bowser. Becca, why don't you just call the shots for the last 800 metres, because I think Ryan's getting pretty close to the finish.
Yeah, I can just about see the finish line in the distance. He's currently doing 3.4, and sort of, I think, don't know whether he's waiting for a lead out or whether he's tired himself out going up the hill or not, but he's just been overtaken by Bruce Bortoff and also by the other member of his group. So I think he might be happy to roll in which will be 22nd over the line, although Chris G is doing 4 watts a kilo a second behind him, so we've got maybe 100 meters to the line, so it'll be interesting to see who can get there first. Chris is closing 11 meters. There we go, and now Ryan's putting in a little bit of a sprint to get himself there. 8 watts a kilo after the end of that race, coming in just over 20 minutes, so that is very quick and very painful, but yeah, he rolls over in 22nd.
Thanks, Becca. And Lisa is the next one up the field. And just before we switch to Lisa, unless Steve, you need to jump in quickly. When I put this race on, I wasn't expecting people to finish in under 20 minutes. I wasn't expecting this to be like a Bologna sort of timescale, but we've seen like the winners of this race have been doing like 19 minutes. So No FTP improvements for them.
Just hitting the steep bit now, James, and as stupid Nate Jones put it, it's a 20-minute FTP test, so we've hit the 10% here. Jonesy, 4.5% holding. Some people in the group, there's a few more powerful riders, maybe. Someone putting down 6 watts a kilogram. That's just rude, really. But Lisa's holding 4 and a bit now as we hit the 1% bit. She's on the wheel of Jay McKenzie, so let's see how she lines this up. Can they make it up to that group ahead? Jonesy's got a pretty decent sprint, so can she just jump a couple of riders? She's 42nd at the moment, just moving ahead of the rider she's with into 41st. Got a few hundred metres to go now, into the last 400 metres. She's chasing down a couple of riders in front of her. Come on, Jonesy, you've got a good kick in you here. I reckon she can
Jonesy.
The paces now. Oh, someone's dropping an aero helmet there who's just ridden past it. Again, just rude. So here she goes. Looks like she's hitting 5, 6. That's a good sprint. That's a good sprint. She's putting in some numbers there. God, she can get someone on the line, can she? Come on, Lisa. It doesn't look like she's quite going to get it rolling over in 42nd. Just a shade over 22 minutes, though. So great time, great ride, and collects the women's com jersey. So Lisa now showing she has more jerseys than I've had hot dinners, adding to a collection. How's Dennis Jones?
Yep, we are on the final straight. Dennis currently in 40th position. He's got a line of riders just in front. He's got Alan Chevel right in front of him. And then we've got H. Hagawara in front, and then N. Stanko, the American, just in front of him. And we have, I think, probably 300 meters to go. Has Dennis got anything left? He's pushing out 360, 370 watts. Needs to get up and sort of have a really, really big push. Does he have anything left? Not entirely sure he does. I think he's decided that he's perfectly happy with 40th place with no one right behind him, and he's just going to coast over the line. I think the course has killed Dennis. Dennis, well done. Really big pushes up the hills, and really good effort.
Just under 23 minutes as well, by the looks of it. That's a cracking time around this course today.
That is a fantastic time around this course. And I think anything under like 23, 24 minutes is a phenomenal time around the course. And just to very quickly recap on what we have to look forward to, by look forward to, I mean dread. On Monday, we have the Stampede, which is our individual time trial. We have Roulemopole, which is, if anyone knows the Caspat route in France, it's the opposite of that. So you will
Can I just get you to say Roulemopole again, James? That was strangely essential.
Roulemopole. So basically, you will go out the pen, turn right, and go up the hill towards the banner. And then go downhill and then do lots of flats, and then you will finish the route on the top of that hill again. So you'll have to do the little climb twice. The bullseye will be 6 laps of the volcano circuit, and the HPR next weekend will be 2 laps of Champs-Élysées. So that should be quite delightful and very, very, very fast. So big thank you to Becca and Steve tonight. Big thank you to our racers, and also for everyone that's been watching. And also, as ever, a massive thank you to Craig for all the pictures and the sound we've been receiving tonight.
25% of the sound we've been receiving. Thank you for Craig.
Thank you, Becca. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Craig. And thank you, everyone, for watching. Good night, guys.